Hello, my fairy tale things. Welcome back. And if you're new here, well, I have to admit, I have a bit of a brand loyalty problem. I am loyal to the one and only, the ogre savior himself, Shrek. But today, we're going to betray Shrek by looking at some unlicensed, unauthorized, and totally bootleg products. DreamWorks, Jeffrey Katzenberg, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. You would not approve of these bootleg Shreks. Yes, we've all seen them. Bootleg Shrek has become almost an internet icon like Shrek himself. Whether you want to call him Shronk or Shrink, these are definitely not licensed Shreks. I've got my laptop here, grab a snack, grab a coffee, and we're just gonna delve right into it where no official ogre has gone before. So digging right into it, we have this creepy, unsettling image of Shrek bubble blowers, and there's a lot going around this image. Like, the bubble blower itself is your typical bootleg Shrek, He looks a little off. The green pigment is too dark on his skin. For some reason, his pants seem to be the same two-tone color of his vest. That's a little odd. And his bubble blower, like the where he's blowing the bubbles from, it almost looks like a honey pot. Like, maybe this was a Winnie the Pooh toy that was reskinned into Shrek. But around the bubble blower, I'm more interested in what's going on here. There's looks like a dirty pavement floor, some weird, they look like shipping boxes, but they're too thin. Like, maybe these would hold smaller items. I don't know, it's very unsettling. And this image is really crisp, despite being from 2004-ish, so I just want to know what the deal is here. Is this a photo taken from the factory? Was this sent to flea market dealers, if you want to order this? I don't know, it's just very industrial and unsettling. But the bubble item itself, while pretty boring, the box is pretty interesting. It's got all sorts of strange Shrek renders on it. It says Bubbles Playset Shrek 2, and then in the middle there it says Happy Hours. Happy Hour. So, I don't know, maybe Shrek is having a little bit of booze there instead of bubbles. We know alcohol is bubbly after all. But I do want to point out the render of Shrek and Donkey there. They're kind of holding onto a sign with the letter 2 on it. That's a pretty rare Shrek render. Pretty interesting. I would love to see what the rest of the box looks like on this because, again, the box is more interesting than the toy. I would love to find one of these boxed and kind of show it off because, I don't know, it's just odd. I do also like the front of the box. You can see all the characters' heads. That is the poster. So it's the poster of the film. They've kind of retrofitted onto the bubbles. Honestly, it's pretty good graphic design. It almost looks like an official product if the toy itself wasn't so bad. But the box is an A+. Okay, moving on, we have these Gingerbread Gingy plush, and this is a relatively new one. I actually found this off of Taobao. This is still something you can buy if you want to toss your money overseas, and who knows what you'll get in the mail. I've ordered a few items from Taobao, and they've never shown up. I've had to get refunds, so not the most reliable platform, but these images are so odd. There's two. There's one of this girl. She's holding the Gingerbread plush. She's got one regular Gingy that actually looks quite nice, and then a much larger green Gingy. Almost like a zombified Gingy. But the second set of images is where things get totally, weird. She seems to be cuddling 3 of the Gingys now. It's now a whole cavalcade of Gingy, and she's in a spooning position, it almost looks like, and she's just in a relaxed state, but she's wearing, a full uniform. She's not really sleeping in, pajamas. There's no blankets on her. Who sleeps without blankets? That's odd. I mean, don't get me wrong, the position looks comfy, and these Gingys look comfy as hell. I'm the type of guy, I sleep with a lot of pillows at night. I roll around in my sleep a lot, so I usually position myself where I have, my big body pillow on one side, the memory foam pillow up against my head, and then, one auxiliary pillow in case I roll around. So it does look quite comfy, but the lack of blankets and like the regular street clothes is very concerning. Also, uh, there's an extra, almost it looks like an extra hand here. If you look at her stomach, there's one hand, and it took me a moment to realize that's her own hand. She kind of like fell asleep with her arm wrapped around her belly, which is a bad position to fall asleep in. Your arm's gonna fall asleep and cramp, but it almost looks like a mysterious hand coming out of Gingy, like just a little unsettling. I don't like these images. They look like something out of a horror movie. Not liking these. Moving on, we have a Shrek who is really angry. Just look at him. Look at that teeth. He's like, oh, he is mad. What's he so hopped up about? Did he find out they're recasting for Shrek 5? Maybe replacing Mike Myers with, like, I don't know, James Corden? Like, who would be the worst possible choice, right? But he is mad. So this is just a figure, and it's really off looking, but I am a Shrek sleuth, and I can determine what's going on here. So the bottle he's holding is the Happily Ever After potion from Shrek 2. Makes sense, and that was made as a toy. It came with the figure. The figure itself, he's like freakishly skinny looking. He's got a really like thin, it's still a bit of a pot belly, but it's very thin, and then his arms are like out and huge. So I looked around, and I believe this is what the bootleg is based off of. So this is the handsome Shrek figure from the Shrek 2 toy line by Hasbro, and he had a gimmick where he could transform into regular Shrek, but because it had to fit the proportions of handsome Shrek, Shrek is just looking pretty freakish here. But if you compare this sculpt to the bootleg, it lines up. Like, some things were changed, like the tassels on the short don't line up, and then they put like a hole in his hand, and the head is obviously different. I could see why they changed it. Obviously, they didn't want to get sued, but at the end of the day, I think it's still pretty obvious who it's supposed to be. Okay, so here's another Shrek bootleg figure, and this one is jumping back to the first film. So this one is a bootleg of the McFarlane Toys Shrek line, and honestly, it looks pretty decent. I know they made a lot of these because I've actually seen a few of these out there, and they're not half bad for a bootleg. I mean, obviously, the paint is probably going to be like, what, riddled with lead and all sorts of crazy stuff, but as far as bootlegs go, this one is decent. The packaging looks just like the McFarlane Toys. All it's missing is Shrek's hands holding it on the side, and the Shrek figure seems to be a direct rip of the McFarlane figure. This guy right here, this dude. So they just kind of ripped the mold, and looks like some of his arms and legs kind of like spread out, which is typical with these bootlegs. They're, they're not exactly clean with how the molds are borrowed. They just kind of do a rush job. When they're making these bootlegs, they kind of backwards engineer them. They take the official figure, they chop it up, and then they steal the pieces to mold, cast a mold, and then reassemble them. So that's why when they're based off of the existing figures, they always look a little off. However, the dwarf here that's packed with Shrek looks pretty good. That's based off of this figure here from the miniature Shrek line for the first movie. And he was only released as a tiny miniature, so this bootleg here, I think these are like 4 to 5 inches, kind of give us a new figure. A bootleg is all the more interesting when it gives us a figure we didn't get in the official toy line, rather than just blatantly stealing the work of these toy manufacturers. So here's one that's very unique. It is Homer Simpson as Shrek. I gotta admit, that is something I did not know I needed to see, but it kind of works. Homer and Shrek have some similar qualities. They have a kind of a same stocky, larger build, and this is like part of a whole line of strange figures where they take Homer Simpson and they make him into different characters from other TV shows and movies. I think these come out of Mexico. I've actually seen a few of them at my local flea markets. Not Shrek, mind you. I would have bought that in a second. But I've seen some, like, horror-themed ones. Very interesting. And the figure itself looks very high quality. Like, I thought at first this was some sort of professional fan custom. And maybe it originally was, but there does seem to be a lot of bootleg figures of this that are showing up. So I will keep my eyes about me because I would like to have this figure. I think it's very unique and fun. And because Disney now owns The Simpsons, I have a feeling the likelihood of a Simpsons and Shrek crossover is low. Which is a shame because for a while, Universal had the Simpsons land in their park, right next to the Shrek ride. So we could have seen some synergy there, but nope, not meant to be. Okay, moving on. Here is the Shrek USB Stick. Oh my, he's all angry. He's all like tough looking. He kind of looks like that big bodyguard from Cats Don't Dance. And this is where you can hide all of your copies of the Shrek movies that DreamWorks doesn't want you to have. I mean, the Puss in Boots series, that's like almost lost media, right? I know Netflix removed it. I think it's on Peacock now. Don't quote me on that. It may already be delisted by the time you watch this. Actually, I recently found out there was a Puss in Boots Yule log that is lost media. This greatly upsets me because I'm a big fan of the Shrek Yule log. I use it every Christmas, and I never knew there was a Puss in Boots Yule log. I guess it was on some streaming service for a day and then delisted, so we're gonna have to preserve this stuff, people, and we're gonna need an army of Shrek USB drives to hold all this data. Okay, moving on. Oh, excuse me, hold on. Sorry, I gotta take this call on my cell phone. Yes, hello? Yes, pepperoni. Thank you. Sorry about that. Just had to order a pizza on my sick-ass Shrek phone here. I also got a Fiona phone for the wife. Just kidding. I didn't order a pizza. I don't have a wife. Anyways, moving on, we have the Shrek phone set. And yeah, this is just totally awesome. This is everything I love in a bootleg. It's something that didn't exist before the bootleg was made. It's quirky and fun. It's weird. The packaging is great. It's just green, and it's got like photos of the toys themselves on it, which is great because we can get a full look at what these look like. And these are fully sculpted figures of Shrek and Fiona as phones. Absolutely hysterical. I love that Fiona is in a honeymoon dress. That's a design that we don't see represented in a lot of merchandise. And yeah, this is just a total winner. I would kill to have this and add it to the Shrek collection. Absolutely awesome. Hold on, excuse me. I have to take another call because I have my Finding Nemo phone. So this seems to be another version. I can't even say it without laughing. It's so good. It's the Shrek phone. Now he's with a Finding Nemo phone. And it says, beautiful melodies. So this is hysterical. This seems to be like factory seconds. This is like the end of the bootleg run. So at this point, like, the government has already busted in the bootleg toy factory. You know, guns are drawn. And, like, shut the factory down. We got you guys. You know, Jeffrey Katzenberg is there like this. And he's like, I want these Shrek phones seized. Government property. And the bootleg people are like, quick. We need to just churn out whatever's left. Anything that made it off the factory line, just stuff in a box. It's good enough. That's what this is. And then we have, oh, of course, the leftover Fionas had to go with the Finding Nemo turtle. I don't remember this one's name. I know Crush was like the bigger turtle, but this is like the kid one. That's hilarious. Wow. Love it. Just absolutely love it. Oh, and one more. Wow, they really got their mileage out of these phones. We have to have Shrek and Bruce, of course. And even though Nemo may be sculpted on Bruce for some reason, my personal headcanon is that this is not Bruce, but instead Lenny from Shark Tale. And this is that long-awaited Shrek Shark Tale crossover that we've all been so desperately asking for, and the bootleggers answered the call on their cell phone. That call. Okay, moving on. Oh, we have Superior 2. I don't know. That Superior font, though, it does look very Shrek 2, so maybe that was used in some promotional items, but oh boy, this is a doozy. It looks like he's on a shelf rack of some sort of discount store. It looks like there's like poker chips around him, kind of sus. And the figure of Shrek he's like that. He's very, he's working on his posture. He's trying to have a nice firm back. So he's just like walking like this so he can build his shape. I don't know, but the sculpt is so funky. I love it. And he's got these big dead eyes. They're kind of like you can see, you know, how do you know someone in life is completely like off their knocker is if you can see the whites around all of their eyes like this. Like, you should only be able to see the whites on the sides, not the top or the bottom. If you see it like that, you're in trouble. And I think you can see all of my eyes when I do that. I got those nightmare eyes. But this Shrek is great. I love the triple chin. He's sculpted with a lot of detail, like, on his chin. There's a lot of, like, he's got, like, detailed jowls. I don't know how to explain it. The costume looks pretty good. They got the vest. They got the pants. It's so great. And I don't know, it's just charming. This figure is charming. I like it a lot. That's a winner. Oh, here we go. Here's the Fantastic Heroes. See, this is one of those multi-packs where you just get, like, a bunch of characters. But what I love about this one is that it only could have existed in 2005. This is, like, such a distinct time where you would have had Shrek, Mr. Fantastic, Chicken Little, and Alex from Madagascar. Like, no other year would these characters have ever been paired together. I mean, they shouldn't be paired together at all, but I love the inclusion of Chicken Little. It's kind of a deep cut. It's great. Shrek here is obviously based off of the Hasbro figure, complete with the potion bottle. And I think Alex is based off of the McDonald's Madagascar toys. Though he may have been the Hasbro figure. Yeah, Hasbro actually did make Madagascar figures, believe it or not. But that's a video for another time. I would like to talk about Madagascar toys. I just rewatched that trilogy. They're surprisingly good movies. Except that third one. It's rough. Okay, now we have, oh, of course, the Sense of Right Alliance. So this is a legendary bootleg set. You could even say that this is the most famous bootleg toy of all time. It is everywhere, every meme, but it's one of those sets that is so good. There's so many elements about it that you want to believe it's fake. Like, this looks like something an artist would have made because the stars have aligned too perfectly. So let's just break it down from the top. It's called the Sense of Right Alliance, which is like the most bootleg way of saying the Justice League I've ever seen. And it's done in the JLA font, like the animated Justice League series, with the kind of orangey backdrop, like that series. And it's got a bunch of characters along the top, some of which aren't even included in the toy set. Like, we have Spider-Man and the Ninja Turtles. They're not even present in the set. Wait, Spider-Man is there. I am now noticing Spider-Man. I didn't see him at first because I was too distracted by Shrek, but now I see that Spider-Man is there. But it's not Black Suit Spider-Man, so it still doesn't count, because the Black Suit one is pictured, and it is just so great. So we have Batman and Superman, and to be fair, both Batman and Superman are from the JLA cartoon. They're done in the Bruce Timm style, so that's kind of a win. It's not like a random Batman or Superman. It's ones that fit the Justice League. But then the set just falls off a cliff, because we've got Spider-Man and a Power Ranger. They're not part of the Justice League, but they are superhero-type characters, so kind of makes sense. But then you have the two biggies, Shrek and Lightning McQueen. And I love that they're both on opposite ends of the packaging. They are like the pillars holding up this grand temple. Like, this set, there's no other way to say it. It's the bootleg shrine that we all go to pray to. And the Shrek and Lightning McQueen, all the Greek columns holding the pantheon together. It's just so amazing. Lightning McQueen isn't even in the right color. He's yellow. And Shrek looks so goofy on his own, but upon looking at this figure again, I am now making the connection that that is not any Shrek included in the set. That, my friends, is Superior 2. It's good to know that Superior 2 was re-released in this set so that more people could get him. But yeah, this set is so amazing. I thought for a long time that it was a doctored image. It just seemed too funny to be a bootleg. But then I found this image, and this image checks out. This is clearly from some retailer, because if you look on the bottom, there's like a fire truck toy. So this is some toy store in a flea market, maybe a mall. I know a lot of like mall kiosks sell bootlegs. And there's a ton of these on the peg. Look how far back that peg goes. And this image kind of kills me because I want one of these sets so bad. I would honestly say this is one of my top holy grails of Shrek collecting. This is the bootleg to get. It is such an amazing piece. I could like hang it above my collection and it would be the prized trophy of my collection. And just to know that at some point in time, probably 20 years ago, there was this many of them. Simply amazing. And you know, looking at the second image, I'm noticing a couple of things. The Lightning McQueen is now blue, and the Power Ranger is now a blue Ranger. So it seems like there are even some variants in the sense of Right Alliance, meaning you're going to have to buy multiple of these to complete a collection. But that is a amazing action figure set. If anyone out there has one of these or has seen one of them, you know, please let me know. I would love to know, like, do these have any durability? Like, do these fall apart the moment you open them? Because, I don't know, I kind of want one to keep and one to open. Anyways, that is enough drooling over that horrible bootleg. Now we've got a truly odd one. I had to include this because it's so weird, but I had to doctor the image because they include their... Okay, let's just get right into this, okay? This is a Shrek ride-on toy. It's really creepy. I can't even keep a straight face looking at it. It's called the Shrek, in all lowercase letters. The Shrek. And it's his face, and it's got Shrek and Fiona on the seat, and it looks like there's some other promotional artwork on the side, but it's so tiny you can't see it. And it says, along the top, Magic Car, the Shrek. And it has an MRP, which is like the suggested retailer price, like some store was going to carry this, and then it has our price. So it's kind of like when you go to Ross or Burlington, and it's like suggested price, but we offer it cheaper. So this is like an ad for something called the Shrek by, I think it's Maruti or Murati Gifts and Toys. I think I'm saying the name right. And it's like, all price is cheaper, okay? We know you've gone to Saks Fifth Avenue and seen the Shrek at high prices. We're offering it cheaper. Come to Maruti. It's cheaper here. And it says home delivery available. What? They're going to deliver this thing to your house? Like, I need to call the number on here and have this delivered. And that's the final funny part, is there's a phone number on this. Although I have scribbled it out for this video because, I don't know, is that phone even in service? Like, was it sold to a sex line? I don't want to know what's going on with that phone number. I'm not going to call and find it out, so I just blanked it out. And they also had their Facebook and Instagram. Like, I get having your Instagram for a company, but I feel like phone number and Facebook is, like, kind of personal to include on an advertisement for the Shrek. I feel like I'm in Scream. Like, if I call this number, I'm going to activate a serial killer after me. I don't know. Is the Shrek worth it? The answer is yes. Okay, now we have Scalar. And I love this one so much. It's so freaky and weird. It's a Shrek that climbs, like, up walls and stuff. And he's chugging the Happily Ever After potion from Shrek 2. And what's so odd about this one is it looks really official. The figure is sculpted very nicely. If you look at his vest, it's got the alligator print. The fact that he's gulping down the Happily Ever After potion, which is blue, it's the correct color from the movie. And even, like, the font, Scalar, is in the Shrek font with the little ears. And keep in mind, this toy is from 2004, so I don't even know if, like, the Shrek font was publicly available. Like, did the bootlegger make that font? It's really good, and they've even got the orange on the packaging. So all the Shrek 2 toys extensively used orange. This is something the bootleggers never get right. They always go with green, but this one uses the orange that is pretty close to the real deal, so maybe this bootlegger had access to the Shrek press kit and used official iconography from the toys. I don't know, but On a surface level, it looks really convincing, but it is just so freaky and weird. You know it isn't real. Like, it's like a Shrek spider monster. It's terrifying. And if this image is terrifying, just wait till you see the next one. Because I found this image, and this is like they're coming at you, man. Like, you need to run. The scalers are here. The scalers. Yeah, I just don't know. This seems to be a factory, maybe? Looks like a factory. And they're just sitting there, man. They're just sitting there, and that is not cool. What are they doing? God, why does he have plastic tubes all around him? Like, he looks like a monster. Like, what's going on there? Does the potion, like, send liquid for the tubes? I don't know. I'm getting shivers just thinking about it, but this is one freaky-ass toy right here, man. It's weird. You would see that in a Cronenberg movie. That is freaky. And that is the last Shrek toy bootleg I have today. I have one more bonus entry because this video was specifically about bootleg toys, so no other bootleg Shrek stuff was included, but I did want to show off this photo I found of these life-size Shrek standees for two reasons. Number one, the donkey. Look at it. Look at that donkey. That is some more Cronenberg stuff right there. That is going to live in my nightmares and now your nightmares for a week. You're welcome. But also, this is toy related because these life-size statues are directly based off of the McDonald's Shrek toys. I was amazed when I saw this. These life-size figures are actually based on toys, except Donkey. Donkey is actually an artist's interpretation of what hell itself looks like. But the baby, that is Fergus, for those curious, and it's based off the Shrek the Third Happy Meal of him. And then Shrek is based off of the Shrek the Third Happy Meal. He's looking a little skinnier, maybe to save on material, but look at the way the arms are positioned and the whole figure is kind of tilted to the side, like this figure. And Fiona, this is the most curious one. Fiona is definitely based off of this figure right here, if you just bend the arm. And this was the rare Happy Meal for Shrek Forever After that was only available in, I believe, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, and maybe Brazil, and a couple other countries. But this was not the toy line in the United States. So, as a U.S. resident, I can sleep at night knowing that these figures are definitely not in my country of origin, because I don't think the artist that made these would have had easy access to this figure, but they probably live in a country where this is a much more common figure. I actually did a video on this figure, and this is a tough one to find here in the US, so I think it's really interesting seeing a life-sized version of this figure, of course in the wrong dress. So those are probably the best Shrek bootleg toys you're ever going to get, because they're life-size and also pure nightmare fuel, but I think a lot of these toys were actually pretty scary. Shrek's already a freaky character by design. He really does ride that thin line of, like, appealing animated character and terrifying. He's a big monster man, so bootlegs of Shrek always tend to be pretty freaky. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Shrek bootleg is. I only chronicled the surface level. The iceberg of Shrek bootlegs goes deep, let me tell ya. There's all sorts of stuff, and this was just the toys. I didn't even cover the bootleg movies, and all sorts of weird other stuff is out there, so let me know what your favorite Shrek bootlegs are. Thanks for watching, and have a happily ever after. Unless you're traveling with bootleg Shrek and Donkey. If that's the case, my friend, you are not going to have a happily ever after. You are going to be gone far, far away and never seen again.